Hello everyone, my name is John Megling. I'm the Microsoft Senior System Engineer at Tech Data. Today we're going to be talking about the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Toolkit. And I've got my information up on the screen so that if you want to contact me directly, as long as you're a partner with Tech Data, and I can help you with what we're going to be talking about today, which is the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Tool. Mainly the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Tool is a tool that Microsoft provides. It's a free download that allows you to use this tool to assess your customers' environments. Specifically today, we're going to focus on 2003, since 2003 is going into life. We're going to discuss 2003 to 2008, 2012 migrations and how this tool can be of assistance to you in that migration process. So the first thing to do is to probably take a look at how to actually get the tool. So we'll just go, you go to your browser and we'll go to Bing and we'll just type Microsoft MAP tool and we'll just add download to it. You can see it actually even fills it in for you. So when you get the results, it's a pretty simple thing to do. We click on it here, and Microsoft, as I said, provides this tool free of charge for you to download it right from here. So this is the URL up here for that download, and again, nothing too tricky. It's not a huge file. It's a very easy install. I suggest you do it on a Windows-based PC. There's the operating system requirements, so you need to be at least at Windows 7. Again, nothing too tricky here as far as system and hardware requirements, but you may want to review those just to make sure you have the correct PC to install it upon. You can actually put it on the server also, but again, most of our customers use it on a PC. So that's where you get the download. So for today's purposes, we're going to go ahead and we're not actually going to do the install, but we're going to go ahead and assume that the tool is already installed on the PC. This is an example. This is just a Windows 8.1 PC that I have, and as you can see, the map tool, it creates an icon. Looks like this. Microsoft Assessment Planning Toolkit. But anyways, once you launch it, this is the interface you're going to be working out of. So when you start looking at the map tool, I've already got results in it, but the thing to start with is always you want to come into the overview screen. The overview screen, again, as we're going to be talking about this today, the map tool does a lot of things. The main thing to remember for this particular video is we're going to be focusing on the 2003 again to 2012 migrations. But as you can see, we have several scenarios, and again, these scenarios are great because what it allows us to do is we collect the same information, and we can use it for different scenarios that we actually have. So when you look at the actual tool, we'll go ahead and launch it here. As you can see, I'm running version 9.2, which is the latest at the recording of this video. I want to bring this up because, again, this one I don't have an inventory in. So when we look at it, again, we come in the inventory, there is a getting starting guide, which links us out to the Microsoft website, which is a really great resource on how to use the map tool. When we take a look at that, it'll actually link us over straight to the Microsoft site to actually get that done. Again, a lot of good stuff here that goes over, so you have some resources on the actual tool. But when we look at it itself, the first thing we're going to see is performing an inventory. So what we need to do is actually inventory the servers that we're thinking about migrating. So when you look at it, take a look at my sample environment that I did for this migration. I had a couple 2003, this is a Hyper-V manager anyways, but I've got a couple domain controllers that are 2003 based, an application server that's 2003 based. And then I've got, just to show, again, different things customers may have, I've got a 2008 file server, and I've got some workstations that are connected to this. No big deal, just kind of a simulated environment that a lot of our small, medium customers might have. The good thing is these principles are the same whether we're dealing with small, medium customers or more medium to enterprise customers. So when you look at it, again, the inventory is the first step. that we have to do. If we start looking at the different things that we're interested in, maybe it's a server migration. Again, everything's revolving around the inventory. So when we go into the overview, just to kind of show you the inventory, when we hit it gives us a wizard. We have several options here on the scenarios that we want to take a look at. Windows computers, Linux computers, VMware. As like I said, it does a ton of different things. Exchange environments, link environments, Oracle. As you can see on the screen, there's lots of different stuff here. But what we're focusing on today is the Windows side of it. So we'll go ahead and just click the Windows piece and hit next. Again, a couple different ways that we can actually do the discovery. We can do it by networking protocols. It has hooks to Configuration Manager. We can do an IP address range. Again, as you can see here, different options. But what most of the time you're going to use is at your customer site is Active Directory domain services. So when we hit next, we just put in our domain that we're interested in. We add a domain account. And then we give it our password for the domain account, and we hit next, and it's off to giving us the results. So no big deal there. We're not going to finish that because I've already done that in this other environment that I have, which we're going to switch over to. So after we scan the environment, we're going to go, our information will come back into the tool, and we'll start looking more like how you see it now. So it tells us the inventory that came back. In my case, 11 machines, 7 of which were inventoried. That's why we're at the 64%. And this just tells us the time it took to actually do the collection. We can also tab through the different options here on the left. So hopefully you can see my mouse screen here. We can tab through these different options on the left, or we can actually hit the actual different options in here in the different scenarios. This kind of gives you a nice overview of the different scenarios. For example, the server scenarios, discovery readiness assessments for 2012 to 2008 R2, different things we have here. The neat thing is when we get these results, we can also look at it. Maybe we're considering an on-site server migration or a cloud-based migration. So the neat thing is it takes us right. We don't have to do the inventory again and again and again. Once we've done the inventory, we can fit it into different scenarios and compare those scenarios. So we may want to compare a server scenario to a cloud scenario, that type of thing. Or maybe even we're considering server virtualization. Maybe the older environment 03 wasn't virtualized, and now we are. Now we want to go virtualized. So first, let's take a look at the server assessment piece of our Microsoft Assessment Planning tool. As you can see from the overview, when we go and click Server, it gives us a nice overview splash screen that gives us a general roundup of what the Microsoft Assessment tool Planning tool has found. As you can see, it breaks it down into categories: Server 2012, R2, Server 2012, 2008 R2. Web piece, we didn't have any web servers in this example, and then also our legacy. Basically, it's showing us, again, which is what we're focused on today, the Windows 2003 to 2012, 2008 migration piece. You can see it showed 4 legacy servers, which is exactly what I had, and that's pretty cool. So let's break it down, kind of look at a couple of these boxes, and take a look at some of the data that Microsoft provides us. So we're going to take a look at the 2012 R2 box. Go ahead and just click that box. Again, it gives us a pie chart, kind of shows us the same stuff we'd already saw on the other screen. If we go up here to the top under the options, if we hadn't collected the data, we could just grab it from right here, but we've already collected the data. We can go ahead and generate the report that Microsoft has. Just takes a few seconds here to generate the report, and it'll open it in a folder. You can rename the folder, or it has a default folder. I've renamed it in this case. If we look at it, this is the assessment that it just completed, the report. We use and leverage Excel for this reporting. So the first tab gives us a summary of everything that was going on. Not, it's a good, again, overview of what we have. The assessment values, that basically how we rated the servers, the assessment itself. So when we start looking at this, it actually shows the computer name. Again, this all matches up to the environment I showed you earlier that I have that's virtual. Actually, even shows you the underlying host that these machines are running on. In this case, this particular server here was the actual host. These are the actual virtual machines. But as you can see, readiness, the readiness category, it shows you meets minimum requirements. Gives you a suggestion just to check the CPU architecture. That type of thing. As you can see, it breaks it down by each one. And then there's one of ours that isn't ready here. Specifically, this 2008 file server is not ready, and the reason why it gives us the reason if it's not ready, as you can see here, free disk space is less than 32 gig. So basically, we're going to have to do something about the disk space before we can actually make that migration. And then if it couldn't collect information on the specific machine, it will we'll break it down here. In this case, I didn't really want to include this machine in this discovery, but it was out there, and it grabbed it. So we look at the roles. Again, this breaks down our 2003, our roles that we have going on there. We have Active Directory and DNS, and then again the servers that it discovered. So this gives us a nice overview outlook on what we need to do. Again, gets us headed in the right direction regarding the migration piece. Next, we'll take a look at, we'll back up here and actually take a look at the legacy server report just to show some of the differences here. We'll go ahead and generate that report and open it. Again, because this is what we're focusing on, these legacy servers. As you can see, it gives us the total count, server inventory, a little more concise than the last one we were taking a look, because again, this report's focused on the legacy machines, the older machines that are going into life, in this case our 2003 machines, which is more concise than the first report that we showed. Again, shows you the names, breaks it down. In this case, they're virtual machines. If you had actually physical servers, it'll come back and just show physical machines, that type of thing. You can also, again, filter, on these things through Excel. Tells you the service pack levels, the edition, which again is nice. We always have, sometimes it's a struggle to remember exactly what customers have, but as you can tell, it brings back the operating system, tells you the version, the edition of the product. Again, as we talked about earlier, I've got 3 Windows 2003 servers and a 2008 server. Tells us the architecture of the products, which is helpful because we know we're going to have to make some decisions if our legacy machines are 32-bit versus 64-bit. Again, IP addresses, things like that we need to have, especially if we forget them after we redo servers. It's nice to put them back on the IP address as we wanted them. So anyways, all that information is here. As you can see, tells you who owns the machine, the domain, that kind of stuff. Number of processors. Again, there's a lot of information that we collect. Just kind of browse through some of this so you can see some of this stuff, just how much memory the server has. It gives us information on, whether we can maybe reuse the server we have or whether we need to buy new servers. In most cases, for our 2003 to 2012, our two scenarios, we're going to need new servers. Again, whether it's virtual or not, again, good information to have. Because you may not actually be running this for your customers. In some cases, you may have some of your customers that want to run this tool themselves, and they can supply you back with this information, and you can make some decisions on that. As you can see, again, I'm just kind of bouncing through the options here so you see what's going on. Let's take a look at the server roles tab. Again, similar to what we had on the other screen, it shows us our different AD boxes and our DNS server. Again, gives us a nice list of what we need to do so we can make some technical decisions there. Application summary. Notice I had an application server and I had an invoicing application on it. Again, how many times do customers install applications that you're not aware of, things like that. In the migration process, knowing what applications are out there, what you can and cannot do with those applications, what's going to need to be handled, that's some of the most crucial things you're going to be doing in the migration process. And this one breaks down the applications. This is, again, everything that's kind of going on. I don't have a lot going on. Again, this is a demo environment that I put together just to show, this specific tool. But if they had a lot of, a lot of servers and a lot of different applications that are running out there, as you can see, here's this application server I talked about, and you can see this invoice application that I'm running. Your list will probably come back and be much more detailed than mine. Let's close out of that, and we'll go to the back to the server tab. 2008 R2, again, some of your customers may not be ready for 2012 or 2012 R2. If that's the case, again, we provide the same information for 2012 R2. We can go here and generate this report also. Give it a second here to complete. Hit close and open it up here, and you can see you can sort it. It shows us our latest one. This is our 08 R2 assessment. And again, it's going to look very similar to what we've already seen. But again, making choices for us based on going to 2008 R2 and not 2012 R2. Same kind of stuff that we have going on. So, nothing too crazy there. And for now, that's going to complete the server tab. And then we'll move on to the virtualization tab and take a look at that. Now we'll take a look at the server consolidation piece of our the server virtualization consolidation piece of our Microsoft Assessment Planning product that we're talking about here today. So when we click on server virtualization again over here off the left tab, our different options, that we spent some time already talking about the server side of it. And then now we're going to take a look at the server virtualization piece. Actually, just to back up on the server side to show something real quick, when we were taking a look at the consolidation report, we'll go ahead and look at that report again. I want to show you this. I kind of misspoke in one little area. I just want to correct it. So when we take a look at this assessment, again, the one we were looking at earlier, wanted to take a look at the values, the roles, the discovered pieces. This I had actually, wanted to show you this discovered applications. So this is very important as we, as we talk with our customers. Again, applications they're running, are critical. I touched on this a little bit in that section, but this is, again, I don't have a lot of applications going, but this would show all the applications that are running on the servers. Again, where you want to, in my case, I have a lot of Microsoft stuff and then this invoice application that we talked about. In your case, your customers are going to have many different applications, and you definitely want to spend some time with those application vendors just to make sure that they'll run on what platform, whether they'll work on 2012 or whether they're going to work on 2008 R2, that kind of thing. That way you can make the appropriate choices for your customers. And again, I'm here to help you if you guys have questions about that. I'll throw my contact information there up again as we talk. So we'll go ahead and move on now to the the server virtualization piece of the whole thing here. And again, a nice overview screen that shows us some of the different options we have regarding one, what is discovered, and again, some options we can drill down into to discover some, help us discover choices we might want to make regarding, virtualizing these 2003, in most cases, physical servers that your customers are going to have. Most of the customers are on 2003. Definitely there's a large percentage that have virtualization, but also in small business, in SMB market, most of our customers are running 2003 on physical servers. So it's a good time to consider virtualization and consolidating these machines down into virtualization. So let's go ahead and hit the server consolidation tab. And when we look at the server virtualization report, well, actually, we'll take a look at this screen first. So this shows us number of hosts required. So it's taking a look at our environment and actually consolidating that down into what we can and cannot do. So as we were talking, when we take a look at the screen, it's telling us that we can consolidate down into one host. There's 4 machines that they're looking at there, and it shows us the host configuration that they're suggesting. Also, again, a host summary. It's also down here in a tabular kind of format. Let's go ahead and take a look at the report revolving around this virtualization report consolidation that we're considering. Again, we're back to our reporting folder. We're going to click on this guy. So when we start taking a look at what's going on here, sorry, I had it open twice. Anyways, again, a summary of what's going on, number of devices, what's inventoried, what's not. Again, for our thing, it missed 7 devices out there, but again, those devices aren't related to this. The 4 that we were interested in were captured, but that's definitely something to check. So if you get a lot of failed devices that it collects information on, you want to go back in and take a look at how you designed your collection and make sure that you're getting everything. So this is pretty neat too, as we're tabbing through this, how it works. So Microsoft gives you an overview of the decision-making process that they're doing to actually create this report. And the machines, how they're analyzing them, the data, how it's normalized. Again, this is quite a bit of information here. It's something you'd want to go through and take a look at yourself. And then again, bringing up another look at our host machine, the utilization settings. In my example, I said that 100% utilization. Again, that's probably not realistic for most. It's up to you to decide what you want your maximum utilization to be able to be. But again, this is just an example to show you what the tool can do. And then consolidation recommendations. So it shows you aggregate it, onto a host, and then actually shows you can bring these machines into that host. And it breaks down things like CPU utilization, memory utilization, disk I/O, all the things we have to think about whenever we're looking at virtualizing a machine that's on a physical server now and taking it to a virtual server. And then utilization before. Again, they compare recommendations versus before. Logical disk, again, gets very granular here. It gets down into disk utilization, the things that we need. Unplaced machines. In this case, there were no unplaced machines. So if you had a couple servers that weren't good candidates for virtualization, they would have showed up on this tab. So let's go ahead and close out of that. And now we want to take a look at the cloud portion. We touched a little bit on it earlier, but a lot of our customers, especially our SMB customers, our medium business and large customers, are looking to take their server workloads and put those in the cloud. And Azure is a great place to do that. And the really cool thing about the Microsoft Assessment Planning tool is it's going to do a lot of the work for us, that basic groundwork to getting us towards moving it into an Azure environment. So when we look here, again, it's another tab, the Cloud tab off of our Assessment Planning tool. As you can see, it's got a nice checkbox of everything we needed to do to get things going. So we had the inventory created, we had collected the performance data, we had a hardware configuration that came back from that, and then we ran the private cloud fast track is if you want to host it on your own private cloud. But anyways, that gets us to the place where we can take a look at the Azure piece. It tells us 50% of our machines are ready. We got 3 machines they're ready. There's obviously 3 machines that we need to do some work on there. On the sizing piece, here's where we're going to drill down. So when you're working with us and Azure, it's always a little bit of a task to try to discover, what do my machines need to look like in Azure. And this tool again takes a lot of that complexity out of it for you. This is an overview screen. We're going to go ahead and generate the report that it generates. We're going to take a look at the report. It looks again similar to the reports we've already talked about, so far in the Microsoft Assessment Planning tool. Again, a roll-up of total servers that we're looking at, sizing results. This is the really cool one. So you can see this is our servers, our main 2003 servers that we were looking at, and our 2008 or file server there. When we start scrolling over, again, it tells us what type of machine it is, the Azure size, which is real important. These are things that a lot of our customers try to figure out on their own. Hey, I've got this server. What type of server does it need to be in Azure? And this way, the assessment planning tool will do a lot of that work for you and them and help you guys get to a final result, which is a quote or a price, kind of thing on what it's going to look like to move their servers into Azure. It gives you the size of the virtual machine in Azure, the estimated compute hours that you're going to have, the network usage, the storage usage, the percentage of utilization of the CPU, memory. You can see it kind of breaks it really out nice here. Again, my environment's fairly simple for this demo, but again, a lot of these categories would be filled out and more complex based on your customer's information. Virtual machine profiles. Again, it's kind of a consolidated report from information that's provided otherwhere. A lot of times you're going to see in the assessment planning tool, there's a lot of the same information put in different places in different ways. And that's actually really, really neat because everybody doesn't always understand things the same way as someone else. So again, putting it in a different format, that type of thing, or creating a consolidated report is going to take that work away from you. That way you can spend time, on selling the solution. Utilization breaks it down, memory, things like that we have to think about, network adapters, IP addresses, all that crucial information we need. And if there were any machines that weren't returned back in the result, it would be reported here. So as I hope you can see, the Microsoft Assessment Planning Tool is a very useful tool that Microsoft provides free of charge. I recommend it to our customers all the time here at Tech Data, and it can do an absolute ton. The other thing that we haven't talked about is you can keep track of multiple databases. So if you have multiple customers, you want to have their information, you can actually import the data. You can go to the customer site, import the data right into your map tool at your site, do the analysis, and provide the results back. You can actually, if your customer has multiple different pieces on their network, you can create different databases or different inventory scans, and you can keep all those scans in one place, which is very very nice. But that's the Microsoft Planning Tool. Hopefully you have questions about it. That way you can contact me. Let me go ahead and put that information back up here again. Again, today we've talked about the Microsoft Assessment Planning Tool. My name is John. I can be reached at email at semsftbo@techdata.com, and there's my telephone number. Feel free to call me, and we can talk about the map tool. Thanks so much.